Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 5150 show. It's ticking and it's talking and it's time to rock. I'd like to introduce to you my co-hosts, Brad, all the way from the Brad Cook Music Studios. Look at him. Look at him. It's fantastic there.
All the way. Oh, yeah, it's looking good.
Wow.
Man.
Yeah, bro.
all his own work.
That's all in a week.
Fantastic. All in a week. Welcome to the Rock Professor too. He's just made a pot of tea, so he's cracking, ready to go.
Yep.
Yeah. I was asleep 20 minutes ago.
Well, we
5:51. Can't we go live in 9 minutes? Oh my God!
Thanks for joining us, Simon. Again, it's good to have you back again.
Well, I can say, guys, I think next Sunday the clocks go back, so next Sunday it'll be 8 o'clock for me, so that'll be fine.
Yeah. So thank you for bringing that up again, Simon, because when our clocks go back here, so you just need to watch over the next 3 or 4 weeks. Might be a few adjustments to where the time goes, because our clocks go back, Brad, don't they?
They do.
Yes,
that's right.
Yeah. So the Rock Professor gets to sleep in for a couple of weeks.
Well, and we're undecided. I might be here next week. I might not. It all depends. I'm having as I said the other day, a couple of weeks ago on the show, I've been having some health issues, and I've got to have a neck operation. I won't go into too much detail, but I've got to have a neck operation, which entails on Wednesday. I'm crossing my fingers. So when they put the 2 bolts in at the side to crank it up a bit, I'll be back. I might look a bit grim for next Sunday to reappear. So it might probably be the Sunday after. But they're putting the bolts in, and cranking it up, so I get all my height back. So, when you get old, you shrink down. So I get it all back, plus
taller.
Yeah, that's the way. So keep in tune with what we're doing, folks, here on the channel by making sure, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, that you are at least getting our notifications, and more importantly, I suppose, to keep really update with what's going on. Follow us on Instagram, Brad Cook Music, Easy Peasy Japanesey, Simon Williams 33, our good friend ZD351 Music, John, and also another good friend whose dad's birthday, Zach Zedris, put a post up celebrating his dad's 85th birthday today.
Good work. Happy birthday, Dad. Well done.
Yeah. Well, he's passed away, but he would have been 85. So go and follow Zach over there, and at least if you follow at least 2 of those channels, the first 2, you'll get some information. Maybe not off the second one, but certainly off Brad Cook Music, you'll get something.
Yeah, I do. I have been a bit quiet on social of late, but time to ramp it up a little bit. Yeah,
I noticed, bro, you did a couple of posts today. You did a good Gibbs Sunday post, so yeah, thank you, bro. Always keen to follow those and share those on our Facebook group. So again, if you want to follow us over there, to reach out if you don't know where they are. If you don't know where those links are, we can pass them out to you, because we've got a few members ticking in. Our Peter Green Facebook group's about 9,400 guys. So,
pretty good.
Gonna have 10K on there soon.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Fantastic. And we are, according to, we were talking last week about celebrating 1 million views and stuff. And you were saying you've had a message from Twitter going, you've only got one. We've now got nearly 990,000 officially on the site. So we are in any numbers closing in on 1 million, even though that doesn't count as short stuff. That's very good.
Yeah.
Got a lot of views. We've had some views. Yeah, fantastic. In the last couple of weeks, which is really cool.
That's great.
Thanks everyone who watched. Yeah, bro.
Brilliant. And Brad, thank you for taking this week's album. Last week, the Rock Professor was back, and we did Moon Dance. So we're on 120 views on that. If you haven't checked it out, that was a fun stream. It was pretty good. A good friend of mine, we were having a chat about it. His name is Carl, and we were talking about that album.
Carl.
And it's, you know, it's an incredible album. It's a masterpiece. So I'm glad that we reflected in some of our scores. But I certainly do look forward to talking about this album, Brad.
So on that subject, do you notice that a guy called Patrick Odling-Smee put some comments on it? Well, he's the guy I went to see Van Morrison with, so he's my old mate from Northern Ireland, and suggesting horse slips is a bit left field. But you see, if you're gonna suggest left field stuff like that, we're never gonna run out of albums. So thanks, Patrick. I'm glad you watched.
I'll make a note of saying hi to him after the show on that. Rock Professor's going to do a shout out soon. But Brad, you're going to be talking about this great repackaged album that came out a few years ago, bro.
Oh yeah, look, it was always a match made in heaven when the Black Crowes joined Jimmy Page. I mean, I remember hearing about it through the grapevine that it was happening, and back in 1999, just before the new millennial. And I was very excited because it wasn't long after the Page Plant thing was pretty much debunked, I think, at that point. So I remember when it came out on CD at the time, back in year 2000, I remember getting a copy, double album it was at the time on CD, for me anyway. And I remember just thinking how phenomenal it sounded. But then listening to this repackaging, it's pretty much been remixed by Kevin Shirley, and it sounds phenomenal. It's just, what do you guys think of the mix? I know it sounded good before, but you can really hear, and especially listening through, a set of headphones, you can really hear the separation between the three guitars. You can hear the keyboard parts that were lost in the original mix. Like there's keyboard everywhere, and you couldn't really hear it in there. Or for me, I would always struggle to hear the keyboard parts, but it's really there. The drums sound great. The bass sounds a bit fatter and bigger and wetter, and I'm really excited about this package. And I spent quite a bit of time in the very short period of time I had this week to listen to it, and but I've been really focusing on it this weekend, and it's quite remarkable. What, guys, when it first came out, what was your initial thought, the Black Crowes and Jimmy Page? What was your thought behind that? Andrew, what do you think? What did you think when you first heard about it?
Like a lot of us, I'm sure we thought that was a match made in heaven. And I remember a couple of friends that I was hanging out with at the time waiting for it after I think we read it somewhere in one of those, Simon, remember back in the day, and it wasn't, that long ago, but long enough for record industries or the recording industries to have publications. They would come out with an 8-page publication of albums that were coming up. And I think I'm sure, in fact, that's how we found out about it. So we were pretty impressed. And then obviously the radio station, local rock radio station, was pushing it. And, I just wanted to hear clearly, guys, I was a Black Crowes fan. That's beyond any doubt. But I just wanted to hear something with Page. Like you, Simon, I'm sure, we just wanted to hear what Page had to do. And we knew that he was going to be challenged by these young guys, and he rose to the challenge, Simon.
He did, certainly. I agree with you. I think that was my initial thought was, thank God he's out playing, doing, as we've said on here lots, he's the keeper of the Led Zeppelin flame in Westworld, and I think one of the, the sadness is really is that he's never really had a band post Led Zeppelin, a sort of really, proper group to go out, tour, record, and and do stuff with. I mean, he's done records with various people, David Coverdale, and but it never really lasted, did it? I don't know why, but it never seemed to have lasted. And so to go out and do, to do sort of classic, Led Zeppelin tunes and stuff, and kind of clearly have a bit of fun was, I think was great, really, and it was, I think that was fantastic, and so it proved.
Yeah. Look, for me, it was always. I'm a big Black Crowes fan as well, so to hear that they'd collaborated and joined forces, I thought, well, you know what? If he was going to pick a backing band, you couldn't pick a better one, really. Let's be honest, to go out there and showcase a lot of the Zeppelin catalog, and to hear it done so well was something that was mind blowing. You know what I mean? To hear the band, how particular they were with the guitar parts and how they arranged them was phenomenal. And the wonderful thing about this packaging now is that Kevin Shirley has been noted as saying that they basically remixed it from scratch. So they made it more three-dimensional because of the technology they've got these days to mix, live recordings, and that sounds more like a recorded album than it does, a live recording, if that makes sense, just because of the way that they could mix it and get it more of a three-dimensional quality to the sound. So, for me, it's been a marvelous, time listening to this record again, in such a, wonderful mix. And the stuff that wasn't necessarily released before is also notably fantastic. So it's great that there's 16, I think, tracks extra. So I don't know.
Pretty much, it's all the Black Crow stuff, isn't it, Brad? That they couldn't get cleared.
They had a problem with the raw. I don't know. Must have licensing royalties. This and I don't know. I don't understand why they couldn't do it. They could put the Black Crowes name to it, but they couldn't put their songs in it. I think I don't know. I have got on DVD, I think somewhere, some bootleg footage. I think a lot of it's surfaced on YouTube now anyway, of the Black Crowes and Jimmy Page performing. And I've always heard some of the Black Crowes stuff there and whatnot, but to hear it remixed with Page on it, it's great. It's just a wonderful package, and I'm looking forward to receiving mine. I haven't got it in the mail yet, but can't wait for it to turn up. Saying that, look what Simon's got in his hand. Do you want to?
Well, this is not the. In fairness, this is not the remixed version. This is the triple vinyl album from. So it's basically the original one, right? It's not the. Hold up, as you can see from the track listing there, it's a sort of light glowing on it, but see, it's basically all the Jimmy Page stuff. It hasn't got any of the Black Crow stuff on there. I got this 3 or 4 years ago, I think. I'm picking that up. I think it's very expensive, but it's fantastically good. Even this is really good. The sound of it is great. It sounds great on my stereo, and so I don't know.
Don't get me wrong, Simon. I thought the mix of that was great, but I think Kevin Shirley's a bit of a genius. Just the way he manages to mix it, and a lot of that, he's had a lot of practice with a lot of phenomenal artists, including Joe Bonamassa. So,
he's 1/3 of the Joe Bonamassa sort of trident, isn't he? With his manager Roy Weisman and Joe and him, and that's the 3 people who made Joe Bonamassa what he is today.
100%.
Let's be clear, though, guys. One of the great things about this repackaging is that we're getting the Black Crowes stuff, which in itself, is incredible. So, long overdue, and it's again, Brad, when record companies and royalties get in the way of, the full package, but at least we got something. In 2000, at least we got something with Page. and it swung, which is really, really good because one of the great things about the Black Crows is that they can swing. So,
yeah. Great band, great songs, and great music. I don't think I've pretty much got every single album they've ever released on CD, and I always used to rush out and buy anything they released, including their singles. Like if on CD single it came out, I'd grab it. So
love them.
Yeah.
Love their sound, and I saw them back in the 90s in Australia, and they were phenomenal. It was on their second
100%.
album. And I think we spoke about that. I've actually got the old Tool shirt from that too, which maybe I'll wear next time.
Yeah, and it's good to see Rich is still a rat bag. There's a couple of clips of him sitting back having a couple of wines, and he's light sparking up, and and having a bit of fun while they're participating in recreational elements.
Yep.
Jazz cigarettes, yes.
Jazz cigarettes, that's right, Rock Professor.
Apparently.
You're showing your true allegiance there. Jazz cigarettes.
I know nothing of these things.
No.
Yeah.
Brad, before you go on and give us always your incredible intro, it might be a good opportunity for the Rock Professor. We've got a few people in here hanging out with us. Rock Professor, might be a good opportunity for you to say hi.
The gang's all in. Greg Zeppelin, good morning. How are you? Hope you're good. Helena Hora, Arvin, of course. Morning, Arvin. Ellen, morning, Ellen. Hope you're well. Hope things are going well in your world. John ZD351. Morning, John.
Hi, Brad.
Hope you're good. Let's go out. We have Nelson first in. So that's everyone who's Helene, Ellen, Arvin, Gretch. Yeah, I think that's everyone who's made a comment, John. So welcome all.
Welcome. Good to see everyone here. And if you're watching this later, please subscribe. We'd love to have you.
11,000 subscribers.
Yes, part of the community, of course.
Look at us go. By 2090, we'll have 12,000.
Yeah, that's it. 1,000 a year.
Speed.
So, guys, do you want me to quickly dive into a few things before we get into the rankings?
Yeah.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I'm just going to quote Jimmy Page, Rich Robinson, and Chris Robinson, what they've talked about listening back to this packaging. And then I think we should just get straight into the rankings rather than wasting too much more time. So obviously this is the 25th anniversary re-release of Live at the Greek, Jimmy Page and the Black Crows, from the 2000 record, year 2000 album that was released. But this one now has, including 16 previously unreleased songs. Obviously it really catches the synergy that we've discussed between Page and the Black Crows from their 1999 performances at the Greek Theatre in Los Angeles. Jimmy Page, well, firstly, before I get into that, I just think it's very important to listen to this recording on headphones. It's something that I thought to mention because I listened to it on a stereo. In my car stereo, it sounds great as well. But in headphones, when I was at the gym training, and I could really hear all the three guitar parts really, really well. It was very clear to me that sonically that was something that they set out to try and achieve. So Jimmy Page has quoted this about the new packaging. In 1999, I was asked to spearhead a benefit concert for children's charities at Café de Paris in London and needed a band. I'd done a War Child event in the previous year with Page and Plant lineup, but that wasn't an option. The Black Crows are in town, so I invited them through photographer Ross Halfin, and they said yes. I'd seen them at the Royal Albert Hall, but playing with them was different. I was blown away by Chris Robinson's voice. A couple of months later, a project came up to play with the Black Crows in New York, Boston, and LA, so I agreed. At rehearsals, hang on, I just lost where I was up to, my bloody thing. At rehearsals, I couldn't believe how they nailed the guitar voicings. I thought I might have to show them the inversions or phrasing, but it was just a joy. Playing songs that I always performed with one guitar and hearing the orchestration felt euphoric. Audley Freed had arranged everything meticulously alongside the Rich Robinson brothers. They had Sven Pippen on bass. His sound was massive, and Steve Gorman on drums, whose take on Zeppelin material was a delight. And Ed Harsh, I think that's how you pronounce his surname, on Hammond. The three guitar lineup with Rich, Audley, and myself was exhilarating. We played Led Zeppelin, Black Blues, Black Crowes music. I had to learn their songs on my own, but I think I played them right. The first date was Roseland in New York, and we played a few more shows before recording the Greek Theatre in LA. Everything was happy. Everyone was happy to put something out as a record of the collaboration. I really enjoyed the whole experience. That was Jimmy Page, what he had to talk about just recently about this new packaging. And Chris Robinson adds, the new Live at the Greek box set brings the whole experience of our work with Jimmy into a vibrant, electric, mystical, and powerful perspective. Hail, hail, rock and roll. And Rich Robinson said, going through the shows and putting together the new box set has been such an incredible dive back to that time in our history. It was a once-in-a-lifetime thrill to play these amazing, iconic songs with the man who composed them. The sound of the new mixes and extra songs blew me away when I first heard them. So, guys, I'm not going to really go on much more about it. I think not too much more needs to be said. That's a brief history and a quick rundown of the whole thing from all three of the members that are important there, obviously. Unless you guys have got anything else you want to discuss, anything you want to discuss, or I think it's a good opportunity to dive straight in.
You know me looking around for a bit of scurrilous humour and stuff. On the Wikipedia page, I particularly like Chris Robinson saying, "I didn't really have that much fun doing it. It was all right. Jimmy's a phenomenal guitarist, but to me, it was just a job. I'm not a big fan of Robert Plant's lyrics or his singing, so part of that was a little boring."
Yeah, I remember previously.
Yeah.
I think it is as he's aged, he's maybe come around,
mellowed a bit. Yeah. I hope so. Yeah. It did. It made me. Made me laugh.
He definitely did used to like upsetting bands that they supported or had bands supporting. He used to be a little bit of a rub the against the grain a little bit deliberately.
Yeah.
Well, he said worse about his brother, and he was the guitar player and songwriter in his own band. So you can't take anything that Rich Robertson. That Chris Robertson says for fun, and if anyone quotes him saying that as a backup for anything serious, Simon, no,
I'm not.
Yeah,
no, it just made me laugh because it's like
because if you go and watch some interviews now, him talking about it, he's proud of what they've done. Yeah. So like a lot of people, he's looking back and thinking, you know what, we were pretty shit hot back then.
Yeah.
Maybe that's on the back of the fact that they were going to do a tour, weren't they? That then fell through.
Correct.
So I think maybe it was a bit of that involved in it. But no, I'm not meaning too much, but it just made me laugh as a kind of typical Chris Robinson, slightly sort of surly response.
There's certainly a lot of funny things that have come out of Chris Robinson's mouth, even like you said, Andrew, about his brother. But there was a lot of to and fro, back and forth between the brothers for a long time. So I'm glad they're back together. But guys, we'll get into the album because there's a lot to get through, and I don't want to sort of go over it too lightly. I've kept my rankings fairly short, but short and sweet, all the good stuff. So you guys right to start the rankings now?
Sure.
All right. Yeah. So first track, Celebration Day. I mean, we all know the song backwards. We've all heard it many times on Led Zeppelin 3. We've heard Zeppelin perform it many, many times back in their heyday. But to hear it perform like this as an opening track was really, really fantastic. I think Chris Robertson delivers like that energetic, slightly raspy performance. He's got a little bit more Southern Rock swagger than Robert Plant, which he injects into that Zeppelin classic sound, but he still gives it, from my opinion, a bit of Robert Plantness in there. He's keeping it fairly close, well, as close as he can possibly do it, I guess. Guitar-wise, I mean, Jimmy Page is really tight. You know, he's cutting riffs, they shine through. Rich Robinson and Ald Frehley, you know, they provide that solid rhythm foundation, and you can really hear the separated guitar parts, which is fantastic to hear this song performed live with all those guitar parts there. I thought that was phenomenal. Sven Pippen on bass, he locks in with the drums, and he's just got that steady, big, pulsing sort of sound. Drummer wise, Steve Gorman, I think, you know, he's driving beat. You know, he's pushing this song. He's keeping it that energy level there, and he's a phenomenal drummer. And I think in this whole package, he does a outstanding job. I mean, we all know John Bonham is not an easy drummer to replicate, and he pays a lot of respect to John Bonham by keeping it fairly much as per the original. Obviously, he's not John Bonham. He's not trying to be, but he's trying to keep it within that sort of respectfully in John Bonham's sort of, you know, that sort of just holding back behind the beat thing, which he does so wonderfully well. And the keyboards, I mean, there's subtle organ work in here. Eddie Harsh, sorry if that's not how you pronounce your surname, but that's how I pronounce it. His organ work, there's a slight touch of depth there, rounding out the sound. Like I said, somewhat faithful to the original Led Zeppelin 3 version, with all the guitar parts covered wonderfully well by the three guitar players. I think Jimmy's solos are very typically Jimmy Page. They're very much him. They're not perfect. They're not, but perfect is not right for Jimmy Page. He doesn't want to be perfect. He just wants that swagger and attitude to come through with his playing. I think it's a wonderful way to open the concert and the package. I gave it 10 out of 10, guys, and never a skip. Simon.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that really interested me about that. I mean, first of all, I'll pick up on what you were saying about, and I think if you're going to do Led Zeppelin, the key for me, the key element in it is how you approach the drums. How you approach the drums is the key element there. And what you do and how you get to not approximate, but how you get to how you get to do that. How you know, what are you going to do with the drumming? Because you can't imitating John Bonham, not a good idea. On the other hand, you've got to do it in some way that has the power and has, you know, the rhythms so they don't sound out of place. You know, it's not a jazz drummer, is it, who's going to do it? So I think that, you know, as you said, that Steve Gorman does a fantastic job of, you know, he's, you know, I hadn't particularly come across him before this until we did the Black Crowes albums, and I think he does a phenomenal job of nailing that down. So you know, you don't, as you say, he doesn't imitate John Bonham, but he just gives it tremendous power and drive, and you know, and I think that it's really one of the key elements of being able to do this. And we're talking more about him, you know, what he does, but I think that's the first thing. The other thing I'd say, Brad, what you picked up, it's funny, isn't it? That I listened to that Jimmy Page, and first of all, you go, what's he doing? And then I don't know, something kind of clicked after about the fourth or fifth listen. Something kind of clicked. It's like, you know, camera coming into focus, and it's like he's just still going for it, isn't he? He does what he does, and he just, you know, he goes for it every single time he plays the guitar. He just goes for it, you know, and I think that's incredible as a guitar player, you know, that he's got that, you know, he's still kind of pushing the envelope of what he's going to do, you know, lead guitar wise and stuff, and and it kind of really fell into, and yes, I went through that stage of kind of going, it's a bit off. And then you realize it's not a bit off. It's just a bit weirder than you think it is. It's not quite. He does odd things, but actually they're still in the keeping. But it's the kind of just the slightly left field bit of it that is, to me, is fantastic and makes Jimmy Page who he is. Is he doing? I agree, and I think the third element I'd pick out is clearly how is Chris Robinson going to approach it? Because he doesn't. It's not particularly like Robert Plant, but I think he does a fantastic job of holding his own. Let's be fair, a 3-guitar lineup. What Led Zeppelin would have sounded like if they got a rhythm guitarist. And I think it is. The sound of it is, has tremendous power, doesn't it? It's just, really, really drives through. And as you said, Kevin Shirley does a fantastic job with the mixing. It's amazing. I think I should give it a 10 out of 10. I mean, it's the opening track on the Led Zeppelin 3. So why not the opening track here? That serves its purpose brilliantly. So it's definitely a 10 out of 10 and never a skip from me. Andrew.
Yeah, just a couple of things, guys. We've got Steve Anderson in the chat saying, nice shirt, Steve. I want to do a shout out. I forgot to do this at the intro.
Is he on Facebook?
Yeah. I want to do a shout out to our friend Andy Carson, whose dad passed away yesterday. Andy. So Andy Carson, I'll send you a link to the show, bro, and I'll stamp the time at 32 minutes. So our condolences, Andy. You've been a great supporter of our channel over the years. So wish you and your family well during this difficult time. Well, there's a couple of things, guys, that I want to say, and I didn't want to say it during the intro. I'm going to say it now, if that's okay. I found this album really, really difficult to rank, and because it's a live album, it's a celebration, Brad and Simon. It was really, really difficult for me to go and find parts, so bear with me, guys, when I tag on to your comments, please, because a studio album for me has some elements that you can sort of dissect and pull apart and sort of focus on a little bit with a microscope if you want. A live album, Brad, it's, I get caught up in that whole power of it. And this album certainly has that. And this song is a celebration, isn't it? Celebration Day is the celebration of what this album and what this project is. Couple of things that I like to talk about. The Rock Professor mentioned obviously some key ingredients there if you're trying to cover Led Zeppelin. And I'm not listening to these songs in comparison to Led Zeppelin songs, guys. I'm not doing that with my rankings. I'm seeing this as a project, as a celebration, as two great acts, and Jimmy Page using this act as a vehicle for him to get out there and present his twist on these songs in a live situation. I agree with you, Simon. You can't mimic John Bonham. The one person that the drummer of the band does mimic, and he's spoken about it many times and in his book, is Charlie Watts, the great Rolling Stones drummer. And, there are elements of that. And that's one of the great reasons why this album is so good, is because he is doing that. He's behind the beat. He allows the guitars, those 3 guitars, Brad and Simon, to push forward and still control, with that rhythm section. He's not trying to pound and smash Simon, which is what John Bonham used to do ahead of the beat sometimes. So, I love that. I love the fact that these guys are definitely being themselves and presenting these great songs. So I have to agree with you guys. You can't give this opening track anything other than a 10. And that's what I'm giving it, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, Andrew, I agree with you. I had great difficulty scoring this in a sense. At the beginning, I thought, well, how are you gonna score custard pie? Other than custard pie, it's like custard pie. And then in the end, I thought, oh, it doesn't matter. Just go with it anyway. It's fine. It's as you say, it's a live album. It's a celebration. Let's just, it's fine.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be no surprises about, there'll be no timeouts from me anyway.
No,
I don't know about you two.
No, I agree. It's hard to rank a live record too, Andrew. I do. But I'm glad you cleared it up. It is a celebration of the music, and it's just great to hear the collaboration between these artists and how they, honored these wonderful songs, I guess. So,
Yeah,
it's
100%,
wonderful. All right, so we'll get on to track 2. It's Delight. I mean, we all know the Led Zeppelin classic. It's from one of my favorite Zeppelin albums, Physical Graffiti, and it infuses everything, in my opinion, about Led Zeppelin. It's one of those sort of songs, but this performance of it is outstanding. Robinson's gritty blues sort of infused delivery, he suits the song wonderfully well. He's got a raunchy tone to his voice when he tries to rock out. I've always loved his voice. Notably, he does play harp on this, and my goodness, he can play well. He plays the harp amazingly well. He plays all the solo section in this, and all the harp you're hearing is Chris Robinson. So he's an amazing harp player. Guitar wise, I mean, Jimmy Page's razor sharp sort of intro, the way he starts, and then with the Crows, the lineup, the two guitar players and the Black Crows coming in, it's just so thick and dense, and they're mimicking and mirroring that riff together. But then there's all the other guitar parts that are in the recording, and they're faithfully there as well. So it's just wonderful to hear this played with 3 guitars, and I'm sure, like Jimmy Page said, it would have been euphoric to hear for the first time playing these songs and hearing all the guitar parts there. That would never happened in Zeppelin, obviously. So the guitar playing in this is fantastic. The bass there lays down, that grooves there, it's heavy. Drums, we've discussed, Steve Gorman, his rhythm's tight on this. He's hitting hard. You can feel it. He's giving the song that weighty, hefty feel that it has. And the keyboard there with the I don't know what keyboard sound it is, guys, but it's there, and it's doing all the John Paul Jones stuff very well. The guitar solo from Jimmy Page, it's wire infused, it's brilliant. Perfect rendition of the song in a live setting. The outro harp solo, in my opinion, that's a little bit ad lib or improvised, is brilliant. Chris Robinson is a legend. I mean, you got to give this guy props. He's phenomenal. And overall, I think it's an absolutely brilliant performance of the song. 10 out of 10 for me, and never a skip. Simon.
So I'm just sneezing. Good morning, Wayno. Morning, Wayno. Good to see you, man. So from Boston, Massachusetts. Very nice. Yeah, I agree. I think that I think that it doesn't he play like a clavinet sound, isn't it? A keyboard. So that's what I thought, was just a clavinet sound to give it slightly more funky sound to it than and the harp solo as well is kind of make it stand out. But yeah, it's a classic track. It's got a classic riff, and I think that the great thing about Steve Gorman is he knows where in the beat to play, make it so that it's he's not pushing it too hard, just enough. He's not sort of hanging off. John Bonham was a bit of a to me, it's always slightly behind it a bit, but he doesn't do that. But it's to me, it's a great version. I think Chris Robinson does a great job of the harp and the singing, and a great powerful wah-wah guitar solo from Page in there. It's, as I say, classic rendition of a classic track. 10 out of 10 for me, and never a skip. Andrew.
Yeah, it's always going to be difficult, isn't it? If you're a vocalist in a band, and you've got one of these, and you're going to be playing live, Brad, and you have to nail the harp solo on a one of the greatest songs ever recorded. And I was blown away by Chris's performance. The first time I heard it, You know, we've mentioned this before. You know, there's been a lot of tracks that we've ranked on albums where the harp has made a lot of songs. You know, just having that element, that element in the track, in the song. We were talking about that when we were talking about becoming Led Zeppelin. You know, when Plant was playing the harmonica and how great he sounded. You know, and you know the responsibility that he took, knowing that he was going to be a lead singer in a rock band and having to master this instrument. Chris Robertson's done the same thing. Mick Jagger's did the same thing too, didn't he? You know, he realized when Brian Jones left that I have to do this. And, you know, Chris Robertson has done that. And he's proven it to me. If he needs to prove anything to me.
He needs to prove everything to you.
doesn't really need to, but, you know, good on him. It's a fantastic track. He's done well. And look, guys, 10 out of 10 from me too. It's never a skip.
Yeah, awesome. The next track is Sick Again, and obviously another brilliant version of a Led Zeppelin classic from Physical Graffiti. I love how they picked, you know, a fair few off Physical Graffiti, which is fantastic. Yeah. It's a great album, and 50th anniversary this year, so that's something that we could discuss on another show maybe. I just thought about that. It's a great idea. We all know the song.
You're full of great ideas, bro.
Oh, look, you know, they just drip out of me. You know, I can't help it. Yeah, so it's a fantastic version of the song. Again, Chris Robinson, he's singing. He puts a lot of emphasis on the, you know, the rawness to the vocal in this. Puts a bit of sleaziness in there as well with his vocal approach. I love that. Again, the guitars. I mean, you're hearing all the replicated parts, a lot of the important parts of the song by the three guitar players. So they're not actually playing a lot of the same stuff. They're all playing something different, which, you know, is I love that. I'm hearing all this stuff that you wouldn't hear necessarily live, which is great. And the stuff that I love on the recording, sometimes I'm like, you know, I wish that you could replicate that with another guitar or two, and obviously they did that. So, you know, Page's lead guitar playing is fiery. He's a bluesman. He's got that, you know, that edginess to his playing, like he's ready to, like a train, ready to fall off the tracks at any time, but he doesn't. He just keeps it together. I love that. You know, it's like Eddie Van Halen used to say, what does he say? You're like falling downstairs sort of sound, but you manage to stay on your feet. He's got that thing about his lead playing, which I love. It's always a joy to listen to Jimmy Page play. Bass wise, well, I mean, it's just that anchoring bass presence. Drumming, it's consistent, pounding. It's doing all the stuff that needs to. The accents are there. His drumming on this album is truly massive, and on this song is no exception. I love this. As we've been saying, it's very hard to rank this, but again, I have to give it 10 out of 10, guys, and never skip. Simon.
No, completely. It's the one thing that did strike me, and I think it did strike me in this as much as anything else, but sort of picked it up in my notes for this. I agree. You know, Page starts and he got his bandist in and absolutely cooking stuff. And the nice, I like the slide that adds kind of texture and color to it that we haven't had before. Great solo. It did strike me slightly that that if you've got three guitar players, you've got a bit of power over dynamics to some extent. I did kind of, you know, I like the fact that when it's just Page, he has a lot of dynamics in the, you know, and how he approaches what he's going to play, which parts and stuff, you know, certainly live, since we've all watched him do it. And which, you know, when you're only part of an instrumental three-piece, discounting Robert as being an instrument. But I kind of, that to me, that's what you get, and you do get, tremendous power in all the songs on this. And I think, as I say, because you've got 3 guitar players and they're all playing something, it's it becomes, as you said earlier, Brad, because of dense kind of experience, doesn't it? And rather than just having, there's a lot less space in it, which if Page is doing it on his own, you've got more space because he's got to choose which parts to play. But I did great versions, and I've loved, especially me, I drive around the country listening to it. So I think this more than stands up. And as I said earlier, it's a bit like Led Zeppelin with a rhythm guitarist, just kind of fill it out. Interesting proposition. So, but again, it's 10 out. Sick again, isn't it? 10 out of 10 and never a skip. It's I absolutely, I mean, I think the first 3 tracks are kind of those very powerful, very big sound, driving along, as we like to say a lot on here, it sets out what you're going to get on the album, isn't it? And then you can kind of spread out from here, but having you set your stall out in this bit, and I think that's what these first 3 tracks do. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for me, never a skip. Andrew.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Brad. It's great that they've recorded this song off that album. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant compilation for these reasons, and to get the 3 guitarists presenting this song in all, the buzzword of this show, folks, is going to be power, because this is what basically this compilation is. It's not trying to be anything other than that, and you're getting that on the song. I think it's remarkable about who would have determined who was going to play what part, and who's going to play. Clearly, Page would have said, "Look, I'm gonna do this," and what are you going to do, Rich? And Rich would have said, "Okay," they would have had to have some kind of conversation about how they were going to play it. And, wouldn't it have been great, if there was a camera there filming, because we're nerds, so we'd love to be a fly on the wall and hear how that was done.
Yeah.
But you'd have to assume Page was leading that, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah. Well, he's a great producer and the great arranger, isn't he? I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think when the project came about, Audley Freed, the guitarist, he was like the musical director at one point, I think, getting it all together. And I think he might have played a big part with Jimmy Page in getting that right too, Andrew. So yeah, so he was a phenomenal guitar player in the band. With his time with Black Crows, he was incredible.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and I mean, Mark Ford, being a massive Mark Ford fan, his replacement was Audley Freed, and I thought to myself, well, they picked someone with a wonderful dynamic and wonderful way of playing to suit. But I think he must have been a big Zeppelin fan as well. You can hear it in his playing on this album as well. I think they all were.
Yeah, 100%. And both those lead guitarists, Freed and Page, were really, really lucky to have clearly the wonderful rhythm that Rich Robertson, as a guitarist, provides on this album, because we just know for a fact, he's just got that in his DNA.
He's an unreal player, but he does play a fair bit of lead on this in the intricate parts and that. So there's 3 guitars playing certain parts that I love. I love that. There might be 3 harmony parts and stuff like that. And when we get to the songs, we'll get into it. But it's wonderful. To hear 3 guitars playing, 10 Years Gone is amazing, which we'll get to. Obviously.
Yeah, 100%. And that's one of the reasons why this package can't be sidestepped. It has to be negotiated, and I'm glad that we're talking about it here. So look, I just have to back up everything that you guys said. I don't want to repeat what you guys have said, because it's just no point, because you're mentioning all the great things, but yeah, the slide and Rich and his contribution and Chris's vocals again. You know, I'm not hearing a Led Zeppelin version. I'm hearing these guys perform Led Zeppelin songs. 10 out of 10. Brad.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Andrew. I thought you were finished your ranking and I was doing what we normally don't do, which was the summary. So
Fuck it, bro. It's a great album. Fuck it. Throw the rules out.
So the next song, Speeding Along, is called No Speak, No Slave, and it's a fantastic Black Crowes song of one of our favorite albums, Andrew. The Southern Humming Musical Companion. That's a phenomenal record. If you don't know the album, do yourself a favor and check it out at some point. So to hear them perform it with Jimmy Page was fantastic. I mean, obviously Jimmy knows what he has to do as a guitar player, and on a song like this, you just got to keep it together and be part of the band. So this is one of my all-time favorite Black Crowes songs. You know, one of the big rockers anyway. And the way this song starts off is just wonderfully massive with Rich and Audley. They're absolutely killing it on this song. And this is where the Black Crowes guitarists, even though they shine being Jimmy Page's blanket of guitar sound, on this song in particular, it's the first opportunity you get to hear Audley Freed just open up on the guitar and Rich really open up, and Jimmy gets a little solo and everything. But the guys were phenomenal guitar players in Black Crowes in their own right. Rich Robinson, I mean, he commands his track. You know, it's his song. It's his signature Southern sort of gritty sound. He's giving it everything he's got. And to me, there's no one else better than Rich Robinson when it comes to singing Southern music. He's just incredible. You know, like I said, Page's aggressive blues bass playing blended seamlessly with the Crowes. The way this song is such a heavy riff. It sounds like it could be a Led Zeppelin song. You know, obviously their writing was inspired maybe by Zeppelin on this. I love his solo in this, which is obviously always good to hear Jimmy Page just improvise. It's great. Steve Gorman, I mean, this is his song. He's not playing Bonham's beats. He's playing his own thing here. He's really giving it everything he's got. It's heavy. It's unrelenting. It's raw. There's so much going on there. And yeah, there's some organ in there, provides that texture, and it's sitting just behind the guitars, but it's phenomenal. Look, again, how do you rank this as a live album? It's hard, but I gave this a 10 out of 10 because it's a cracking version of the song. Simon.
Yeah, I couldn't agree. And I think I felt that it's got that thunder. It fits really well with the previous three songs, doesn't it? It's kind of, you know, that good big point. Riff, and I think, you know, if you're going to pick out, you know, the first Black Crowes song, you've got to choose something that's going to have something in common with, you know, the first three songs, you know, which are all massively strong, you know, classic Led Zeppelin riff songs. And I think that putting this here is a really good, you know, works really well, you know, showcases it. And as I say, because of that thunderous riff that it fits in really well with the previous three songs. You know, I think in a way that maybe some other stuff wouldn't have done. You know, if you'd gone to kind of Southern rock, it wouldn't really have fitted in. And it's some of this stuff certainly right now is about fitting in with what, you know, between the Led Zeppelin stuff, isn't it? And I thought that was really, really good. As you say, you know, you've got that Robinson and Freed chance to sign. You know, Jimmy Page does a bit, but it's basically because it's a Black Crowes thing. It's basically them. I like the feedback in the guitar solo as well. I like that. It's kind of feedback at the beginning. You know, it's kind of always gives a great vibe of live to me. You know, feedback. You know, and they uses the feedback to go into the riff. So I'm going controlled feedback, which is always good as a thing. Yeah, so I think it really fits. A 9.5 out of 10 and never a skip. It's absolutely bang on the money, Andrew.
Well, this is where the band ratchet up for me to another level. When you've got someone of the caliber of Jimmy Page playing guitar, and it's a celebration of songs that he's contributed to one of the great rock bands, Led Zeppelin. You know, you're gonna have some songs there, aren't you? You're gonna have a presentation. You're gonna have a band offering something. When that band is going to lock into a couple of their own songs, Brad and Simon, that they're familiar with, that they know that they are theirs, as you've hit the nail on the head, Brad, you know, with Freed and with Rich, you know, taking it up. They know that these are their songs. So they're kind of turning around saying to Jimmy, okay, we've played a couple of your numbers now. This is ours. So come on, come on.
They stepped it up.
Yeah.
They stepped it up.
Yeah. And you know, show us what you've got. And, you know, that's what I'm hearing. And I'm thinking, you know, this is great, you know, because this is what you said it, Brad, you know, these are blues guys, you know, so and what do blues guys do, you know? They'd get on stage and they'd duel and they'd have a go, and, you know, to try and reduce the other guy to, you know, to nothing. To dust. Yeah. You know, and they all talk about that. And then afterwards, you know, when the money comes and say, yeah, it was a great collaboration. Yeah, fantastic. We weren't doing that. You know, it was just fantastic. But I'm hearing that. I'm hearing these guys are saying, hey, Jimmy, this is us. Certainly on the next couple of songs anyway, because, you know, what a backing band. So I agree with you, Brad. You know, they just, what a great version, phenomenal version, great album. Thanks for doing a shout out to Southern Harmony, because it's a great album. We've ranked that, folks, on this channel. So we'll attach a link if you've missed that, as well as their first album. So, you know, we love the Black Crowes here. I've given this a Brad score. I just think it. Yeah. I think it's fantastic. I think it's the band just ramping it up, saying, Brad, here we are, Jimmy, here we are, Mr. Page.
Yeah, this is our power song. Yeah. Wonderful, awesome. Moving along, the next track is a cover that the Black Crowes recorded on their first record, Shake Your Money Maker, called Hard to Handle. And I mean, we've all heard this a million times on the radio, but I love how the Crowes used to play it live. It seemed to have a little bit more funk to it, a little bit more swagger. And, you know, obviously that drumming intro, it's funky. It's foot stomping, it's rhythm, it's you know, it's awesome. But I think Chris Robinson, he absolutely owns this, you know, this Otis Redding cover. He's delivering like that charismatic performance that he always does. I mean, on guitar, you've got Page and the Crowes guitarist injecting that rock edge into the funk classic. You know, some great playing there. And I'm going to note, it's not Rich Robinson doesn't play the solo on the record. It was actually the producer, but he plays the first solo in this, Andrew. I don't know if you realize that on this live performance. So he's playing the first lead guitar part, and then Audley Freed plays the next lead guitar part. So Page isn't actually playing lead guitar on this. He's just playing a bit of him. So he's letting the Black Crowes boys have a bit of a shining moment, which I thought, well, that's what I'm hearing anyway. I'm hearing it that way, because you hear Chris just before the solo go Rich, and if you listen to it, if you listen to the panning, the left is Audley Freed, the right is Rich Robinson, and sort of slightly off to the middle in one way, I think to the left or right, is Jimmy Page. So you can really tell when you're listening in headphones who's who. And I was really impressed with that, because hearing you know, Rich Robinson playing lead guitar is great, because he's got a great style. And I know he does it a lot, but to know that he actually pulled the solo out, you know, was great. And the bass line on this is obviously groovy, which has got that essential sort of flow and bounce to the song. Yeah, there's a bit of keyboard flourishes to enhance that vintage soul feel to it. Guys, I mean, it's a fantastic song. 10 out of 10, never a skip, guys. Simon.
Oh, completely. It's a classic, isn't it? Absolutely classic. Otis Redding song, you know. originally done by the Booker T, was it Steve Cropper, Donald Dunn, Al Jackson, Booker T on organ. Yeah, Otis Redding's. This is a fantastic version. I always loved this version. I've played it in bands in the past, that I've been in, always, and played it on one of our guitar breaks, the guitar holiday thing I go on. And it's got that fantastic kind of solo as well. You just come in, don't you? Wow, wow. You can, get the front, get your foot on the monitor, and give it some welly. But it's a classic riff, and they've always done it brilliantly. Huge swing to it as well. They keep the groove and the swing in it that the original has. You can hear the crowd singing along, and it's just a fantastic kind of party song to really kick it off, and great sort of swaggering vocals as well. You've got to go out and project yourself to do it. That's fantastic. I've always loved it. It's 10 out of 10. Absolutely, it's a complete classic, and they do the song complete justice in every way. So definitely a 10 out of 10. Love it every day. Andrew.
Cheers, mate. Hey, Tony, good to see you. Thanks for jumping on board. Good
morning,
friend
Tony.
of ours. Awesome. Always cool to see you. Look again. What do I add to this song that you guys have already mentioned? It's an incredible song. I loved it the first time I heard it, Brad and Simon. I love this version. I just agree with you wholeheartedly, Brad. That there's been a few versions over the years that this band has had on this, and they've slowed it down, and they've put in that sort of like Stones 72 tumbling dice feel over over a couple of versions, and you love that. But Rock Professor's hit the nail on the head with the solo on this. It's just and it's the it was the lead single off their first album. I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
It was their lead single. Yeah. It was the song and the video that made it for a lot of people. It was the song and the video that made it for me. It was, when this came out, because you have to remember, Brad, we've spoken about this, haven't we, two guys, that when they came out, grunge was out, and these guys were coming in, wearing bell bottoms, Brad, and and frilly, and playing open G guitar.
and looking and sounding similar to the Faces and the Stones.
Yeah, exactly. Johnny Colt with his cowboy hat on. It's a fantastic song, isn't it? And definitely, you can, again, I'm going to repeat myself, but you can almost imagine that they're turning around looking at Page saying, not bad, eh?
Are you suggesting there's a certain amount of competition between guitarists, Mr. Wall?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm
sure.
It.
I'm sure. You hear that crowd? Hear that crowd singing? Can you hear that crowd singing our song back?
Oh yeah, 100% would have been a mixed crowd at the gigs. Jimmy Page, Zeppelin, and Black Rose fans.
Look, I love it. 10 out of 10, guys. God bless the Black Rose.
Yeah.
And was it Brendan O'Brien who played the solo on it?
The producer, yes, on the original, yeah. I think there was a rumor going around that they booked Slash from Guns N' Roses to come in and do it, but he never turned up. So, yeah, that was a rumor. I don't know if that's 100%, so don't quote me on that, please. Guys, we'll move along. Maybe we'll do one more song. I think there's some photos to show, Andrew, maybe?
Yeah, bro, you just pull the trigger when you want me to do it. No problem.
Yeah, we'll do one more song, and that's roughly halfway. It's just under halfway. So the next song, the Wonton song, it's another Physical Graffiti classic from Led Zeppelin, and I've always loved this track. It's got a massive sound, hasn't it? Really, let's be honest. I mean, it's like a blanket of guitars, and there's You know, it's amazing. Rich Robinson, he brings a gritty sort of wailing intensity to this track. He's kind of adding his own signature sound and singing to this song. I mean, it's like he's kind of skipping words and scatting a little bit through it, but I like that he, you know, obviously he's just adding a little bit of flavor of his own in there, which is great. I think the vocals are fantastic. Jimmy Page, I mean, he rips through this angular riff. I mean, when you play this on guitar, it's very angular, and he's supported by those other two guitar players, like Rich and Audley, and it sounds huge. It's incredible. I love the effect on Jimmy Page's guitar during those little chords before the end of each verse. It goes into that section. You guys know what it is. I don't want to voice it out and sound like an idiot, but I love the effects. It's like
Come on.
Vibro sort of sound, or like a tremolo vibrotrem sort of tone. It's incredible, and I love the guitar sounds on this are fantastic. The bass, I mean, there's a lot of low end punch, and Pippin's sort of playing on this is fantastic. Steve Gorman, I mean, he's delivering an explosive performance on this. He's picking all the accents 100%. He's playing it just incredibly well. There's organ in there subtly. If you listen in the headphones, you hear it. And it just fills out that mix. Guys, this is my first 100 out of 10 and never a skip. Simon.
Hey!
Love it.
Yeah, it is interesting that the that the first 4 songs on this from Led Zeppelin songs are all from Physical Graffiti. I think they're all from Physical, aren't they? Yeah, they are. Oh no, Celebration Days, but 3 of them are from Physical Graffiti. Because I think we're developing this thing of Andrew's competitive, like Jimmy Page, like, right, we're going to do stuff. I don't know, maybe he thought they fitted in better. I'm not sure, but then the earlier stuff, if you go stuff from like Ramble On with the acoustic stuff and things like that, it's maybe it doesn't fit quite as well. I don't know what the thinking was, but I kind of have that feeling that that very powerful kind of rock sound that they've got on the first, on all of the numbers, actually, never mind the first 6, but it's what's in keeping. So yeah, I mean, this is a great version of the song, isn't it? It's a big, dense, powerful sound again. 3 guitars, keyboards, and you can hear in the instrumental break that the guitar and the keys kind of playing together, which give it a different vibe to the Led Zeppelin thing. Nice solo, great solo, melodic, kind of bluesy solo. That was really cool. It's doesn't say. I don't think the scoring is very what's it, critical. I don't think so. I mean, this is 10 out of 10 for me. Never skip. I think that it's a great version. They do it fantastic. It's a great song. It's a Led Zeppelin a Led Zeppelin classic. Where can you go wrong? Well, not here for sure. So Andrew, over to you.
Look, I agree with you guys. Again, it's really, really hard, isn't it, to sort of rank this album because it's so bloody good. I have to agree with you. Wanton Song. Simon, you've hit the nail on the head. I've made a note here with the keys and the guitars. It's a nice little touch, isn't it? And then deliberately you've got Chris Robertson singing like Chris Robertson. He's not trying to mimic anybody, and I take my hat off to the guy. When I listen to this in preparation, guys, for the show, I'm thinking this is where he's like, okay, the crowd love it, the crowd like it. Jimmy Page clearly is loving it, so I'm going to do what I do, and we get it on this. I don't know any Led Zeppelin fan who berates this album or berates any of these songs, and if they do, well,
I'll fight them. Yes.
They don't get it, do they? And we said it at the start that this isn't a comparison. It can't be, but we have to. We're always coming back to Led Zeppelin, aren't we? Yeah, we can't escape it. just as we free ourselves, it just drags us back in, Brad. It just put, Led Zeppelin's just pulling us back in.
Just can't, mate. Look, let's be honest. You're never going to get away from the classic Led Zeppelin thing. You just can't. Like the classic albums, they're phenomenal.
No.
Paige would have been happy with this number, I'm sure. And Brad, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10 too. Like the Rock Professor and everybody else in the chat too, giving all these songs high ranks, deservedly so. Never a skip, bro.
Yeah. Well, that concludes the Wonton song. So we might do the picks. We've got a merch store there, Andrew. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a merch store open on the channel, folks. If you want to go and check it out, please, and support the channel over there, that would be great. We've got a couple of T-shirts. We're working on some designs and some extra designs and a cup and a couple of other cups. So check us out. But Brad, I'm going to throw up some pics and you're going to talk about them.
Yeah. Well, that's the album cover for the new 25th anniversary release with the 16 tracks. I think it's fantastic cover. I'd love to get that on a T-shirt. That would be.
I want a tattoo of that.
It's not bad. Not bad. I think it's phenomenal. The packaging looks fantastic, Andrew. I love that these albums now, they need to put a lot of stuff in them to make people buy it. That's what they have to do now. Unfortunately, that's the way music has become. Yeah, that's the way music has become. But there's the looks like the LP version of it, which looks really cool as well. And here's some shots. Ross Halfon took these wonderful shots at the Greek in LA. And as you can see, that's the lineup there. I can't really. I can see who's who there. There's the keyboard player on the left there. You've got Rich Robinson, Chris Robinson, Jimmy Page. You got Steve Gorman there. Audley Freed and Sven Pippen.
Yep. You got it.
They airbrushed the bass player out.
Yes. So that's left to right. Yeah, that's left to right. And that's I think that picture was done for a guitar magazine. I think that one. I think that was a Guitar World magazine shot, I think. But it's a cool picture. That's a great live shot of the band there. You can see they're very close, Simon. You always talk about that, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Very close, tight-knit band. Obviously, Jimmy Page is there. It looks like he's playing his Dan Electro there. So that must be one of the songs that is in the lineup somewhere coming up. I think it's the first track of the next disc. I won't give away too much. And these look like little, shots of them having fun trying to get them lined up to take a decent photo. Really, they look like they're all just having a bit of fun, a bit of a laugh. I mean, let's be honest, Jimmy Page is enjoying it because he's able to get out there and play Led Zeppelin music again. And the Black Crowes, they're getting to play with Jimmy Page. I mean, it's a win-win. This was a
Page is looking good too because he's got a bit of weight on. So
he looks like a healthy man and for his age and whatnot. And he's rocking out and he's playing really, really well. I mean, look, Page is Page. Everyone loves him. But Kevin Shirley talks about, Page being wonderfully sloppy. He means that in a wonderful way. And there's an interview with Kevin Shirley talking about on his Instagram how he went back and remixed this and it was like capturing lightning in a bottle. It was and it's so glad that they did that. You know what I mean? He's so glad that they took the time to actually record it. And with the new, I guess, for lack of better ways of putting it, with the new technology and the new desks they've got and everything like that, they can really give it the treatment that it deserved. So, Thanks for showing that, Andrew. That's great. Great photos. Okay, so the next track is one from Led Zeppelin 4 and Misty Mountain Hop. Misty Mountain Hop. I love how they start this song off. There's, it's very close to the recorded version on Led Zeppelin 4. Rich Robinson brings a different character to the song, giving it a laid back but confident and rocking delivery. I think he does a wonderful job singing this. That interplay between Jimmy Page and the Crows guitarist is wonderful, and it really shows the color here. I love hearing the solo section with all the guitar parts, guys. You know what I mean? We've heard Page playing it live at Madison Square Gardens, and that's awesome too. You know what I mean? To hear it with one guitar and he covers it off, but and Zeppelin was so good that they could pull it off with just one guitar. But it's just wonderfully fresh to hear all those parts there, being played in that solo, which is fantastic. And Jimmy Page plays the solo great. The bass line is very smooth and locked in. The drums, Gorman, he's got that swing feel. He's keeping it driving, keeping it loose as well. I like that. He's keeping it tight but loose with his own little sort of swing to it. And the keyboards there, they help capture that psychedelic kind of thing, that sort of undertones of the original as well. So, guys, I can't, I listened to this song a few extra times than I did the other songs this week. 100 out of 10, guys. Never skip. Simon.
Yeah. I think I might have to ignore the scoring on this a bit. As I said earlier, you just basically just scoring fantastic versions of Led Zeppelin songs, aren't you? It's like, with Jimmy, it's like, oh, it's too difficult. So I ended up not worrying about it. So if anybody's getting annoyed about the scores, whatever. They're of course ridiculous, but it's a fantastic version. It's straight in with the guitars and the keys, and then as you said, that interplay with the guitars is gives it, and the twin guitar solo towards the end is fantastic as well. As because you've got three guitarists, you can do it, can't you? I'll pick up again the fantastic drumming. Steve Gorman just constantly think how well he did on this. To make it his own, but keep all that power and keep all the swing and the groove that's needed to do these things hard. Whilst retaining your own identity a bit, and not just doing a sort of Bonham pastiche, which is probably quite inevitable for a lot of people. But and as you said, great singing from Chris. I holds his own, against this, and against particularly the Robert Plant versions as well. I think it's he doesn't sound like him, but he does a fantastic job of doing it. 10 out of 10 for me. Never a skip. Fantastic version. Andrew.
Yeah, Simon, you've hit the nail on the head. It's really difficult, isn't it? Great album that the song's off. It's one of the greatest albums ever.
What are you going to do?
It's like, and you're listening to it in 2000. You're going, holy cow, this is great. You were trying desperate not to like it because you loved Led Zeppelin so much. You didn't want to like it. But it grabs you, and look, you're right, Brad. It's not far off musically off the original version, but we're not making comparisons. Jeepers.
Yeah.
The swagger of Chris Robertson's evident on this too, Simon. So good point. I'm backing you up there. I've made that note as well. 10 out of 10, guys. It's just the guitar wall of sound that you get, Brad. You mentioned the versions where we've had just one guitar, but now we've got three guitars. in your ear, just giving you a version of pure ecstasy. I love it. Go and check these. Go if you're new to Led Zeppelin, you got to say to people, we have to make it a mission, don't we, to people to say, go and listen to Led Zeppelin, and to round off your experience, go and check this album out too.
Yeah, 100%. We get to track 8, Hot Song for Nowhere. And wow, I love this song. I'm a big Presence fan. I love the album Presence. And I think they do a wonderful job covering this wonderfully well here. And let's note that this is a very hard song to cover. There's a lot of starts, stops. There's a lot of intricacies going on here. And they nail it. They nail it to the wall hard. And Robinson's vocal here, he adds a bit of a fresh take to this Zeppelin song, but he owns it. He owns it, guys. He's singing this one like it's his own. And guitar-wise, we keep saying it. It's great to hear all the guitar parts covered so wonderfully well. Page's lead playing is adventurous as always. He's playing great. The solo's great. While the other guitarists are just keeping it together and filling out the wall of guitar sound. The bass player Pippin, he provides that funky offbeat sort of bounciness to the song. Gorman, the drummer, he's keeping it tight. It's a complex song on drums, and I think he holds it together wonderfully well. He's keeping it fairly true to the original as well, which is great. And the keyboards there fills out the sound. There's an understated thing going on there. It's very effective organ work going on in the background there. I gave it 10 out of 10, guys. It's a bit of a theme, the 10 out of 10 thing, but like we keep saying, what can you do? 10 out of 10, guys, and never skip. Simon.
No, I think you're right. I think by the time you get to Presence, Page is getting into that multi-layered guitar stuff and with different guitar parts, building up that kind of guitar orchestra thing and being able to have two other guitar players and a keyboard player, I think really benefits a song like this, because you, as you say, you get the full Technicolor experience, don't you, of all the guitar parts, or certainly three of them, and the keyboards as well. And I think that again, it gives it the great power, and it gives it the depth, and it gives it the the dynamics that just Page on his own can't possibly bring it. He has to play some of the bits, not all of them. Which bits is the tricky bit, but so I think it's a fantastic version of it. I think, as I say, it benefits from having a full band on it and things. And the drums are fantastic. The twin guitars are really tight and together and play fantastically. I love Jimmy Page's solo, as you say. I think that he's he just does it his own way, and it's fantastic to hear, and fantastic to hear him still going, well, I'm just going to do this, and and as I say, it took me 4 or 5 lessons before it kind of clicked into into view properly about what he was doing and stuff. And I mean, as we all know, my admiration for Jimmy Page knows no bounds. He's probably my favorite guitar player because of his ability to improvise and his arrangement abilities and all those riffs and things like that. He's right up there, for me. My estimation to, but I think he's a genius on the guitar, and his arranging, producing skills just So it's fantastic to hear this in all its glory, really, and a great outro as well at the end. I'll make the note. 10 out of 10 for me. Never a skip. I don't think it's. Sorry, guys. It's getting a bit. But hey, whatever.
It is
Andrew.
what it is.
Yeah, it's a great song, isn't it? One of the reasons why I think the song works so well, because of the different sections in the song, Brad, that you're talking about. The complexity of the song is because of Sven Pippin and his bass playing, making sure, because you have to keep on the beat and you have to change the beat, so when you're doing all that stuff live, Brad and Simon, that's when the bass becomes the key element in this in the collaboration. Just want to do a bit of a shout out to Sven Pippin too, because don't forget, guys, he went on and filmed a band after the Black Crows split up with Rich Robertson and Mark Ford called Magpie Salute, and go and check them out. They did some great stuff as well.
Yes.
But definitely Sven's contribution on this track, at least, is phenomenal. Not bad for a German bass player.
No.
Morning, Ryan Hall. How you doing? Hope you're good.
10 out of 10, guys. Hey, Ryan.
Ding-a-dee-ding.
Another 10.
Yeah.
Another 10. Guys, we come to the next track, which is track 9. What is and what should never be. The classic Led Zeppelin 2 song, covered so well here. I love how they perform this. There's so much space and air in the version that they recorded here. In the performance, dynamically, they've hit the nail on the head with this one. Chris Robinson delivers a very dynamic performance on this. He puts a lot of emotion in there. He's transitioning between the soft verses and the powerful choruses. I think he really becomes himself in the powerful choruses of this song. It's great to hear. I love all the guitar parts. Jimmy Page, his lead playing. There's a lot of space in his playing on this song. His slide playing on this is genius. He's a remarkable slide guitar player. He didn't play enough slide in his career, in my opinion. He did play it, obviously, but he should have done it more. With the rhythm section being, the bass drums and the 2 extra guitars on this track, the other guitars support that dreamy scope of guitars that are on the record, and I think that's wonderful. I mean, we've heard Zeppelin play this as one guitar, bass, and drums live, but to hear it in this dynamic, it gave me goosebumps to listen to. I loved it. I thought this was fantastic. The bass lines from Sven Pippin are fluid, they're melodic. They're pretty close to what Jonesy would do. The way he plays enhances that mood of the song. Amazing playing. Gorman's light and dark playing, the light versus the explosive choruses. He brings, dare I say it, a bit more bottom feel to this track than previously with other Zeppelin ones. I think he's really tried to just stick with how Bottom played it on this one, which I really appreciate that. I thought it was fantastic. And the keyboards is like little organy swells in there and stuff like that, and to add atmosphere to the track. Again, goosebumps, and when I get goosebumps, I give it 100 out of 10. Never a skip.
Yes, completely. Yeah, it's well, yeah, you're right. It's that again. This is a bit more where you can use the dynamics to great effect. You've got that singing over the lightly strummed backing, at the beginning, and then that contrast between the verse and the chorus. I mean, the chorus is just huge, and just the bang comes in, bang, and that contrast is is made so much more by having full band doing it, lots of guitars and keyboards, and again you picked out the echo slide over the lighter parts is really cool, really nice, and then the band back in for the second part of that solo, which is great. It's just brilliant, and that contrast between the verse and the chorus, I think makes it, and it's a classic, and it's 10 out of 10 and never a skip. And
yeah,
Andrew.
Wow, one of my favorite Led Zeppelin songs ever, and to hear these guys present this song, it's just phenomenal. I can't add anything to what you guys have said, especially you, Brad. The music is just incredible. I just fell in love with this version of the song. I still do. I think it's one of the great versions. And I fell in love with, Chris Robertson's vocals. It's just, we know he's a rocker.
Yeah.
But yeah, Robert Plant must have gone when he heard the tracks to this song. I mean, he must have gone jeepers.
I think Robert ended up really appreciating Jimmy's work with the Black Crowes just quietly.
Yeah, must have. So I'm listening to this song and I'm thinking, gosh, are these guys? Summer's going to be in the States soon. They've released this. Are they going to go and do a small little tour? Is Jimmy Page going to come out and they're going to go and play in some little clubs? I'd love to see that. Maybe we'll be doing some Zoso shows later on. Who knows? But I'm thinking and hoping that they could do that. I'd love to see what they could do together again. I can't add to what you guys have said other than it's a Brad score. It's one of my favorite Led Zeppelin songs ever. And these guys just give us an incredible version, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we come to track 10, which is a Black Crowes song called Wiser Time. And again, this song, mixed amongst the Zeppelin stuff really does fit. Like it fits straight after What Is and What Should Never Be perfectly. But this is the opportunity for the Black Crowes boys to shine again in their own right. Chris Robinson delivers a soulful, reflective, and really smooth vocal. I love this song. I always have. Wiser Time. His voice carries, there's a real expressive way he sings, and you can sense a sense of freedom and longing in his voice, the way he's singing. I love his relaxed phrasing and the way he just lets everything sort of flow. You know what I mean? The way he sings. He's got a lot of grit in his voice, and I love the way he delivers his vocal. The guitar wise here, Rich Robinson and Audley Freed, they really do shine on this song. It's a 7 or 8 minute song. I can't remember exactly how long it goes for, but there's a lot of magic on guitar in this one. A lot of guitar tapestry, I would say. You got a lot of chordal work going on, some tasty lead guitar playing from Audley Freed, and some wonderful slide from Rich there. I think Jimmy Page really takes more of a back seat on this song and lets it really be enhanced by the Black Crowes boys. I'm guessing he hardly plays on it because I can't really hear a lot of him playing on it. And I have seen some bootleg footage of him, and it doesn't look like he's playing in it at all, really. But he looks like he's really getting into it as well. So maybe I'm wrong there, but I'm really just hearing the Black Crowes guitar players really stretching this one out and giving it everything they've got. The bass wise, it's steady, it's fluid. The song has that sort of solid bass foundation. Gorman's drumming, I mean, it's his song, it's his drumming. He's part of the Black Crowes. He's dynamic. It's breathing. The drumming breathes a lot, and there's a lot of intricate work going on there on the drums. Finally, Eddie Harsh on piano and organ really gives his opportunity to shine on this song. There's a lot going on here. It's psychedelic. It's 70s. It's got a little bit of soul when it comes to the organ parts, the way he's playing. I think it's a fantastic song. Andrew and Simon, I used to listen to this Black Crowes song when I'd be driving my car, elbow hanging out the window driving, just a cruise song. And when I listen to this song, it brings me back to that moment. But I think it's a wonderful performance. And again, these guys have really, really worked hard to bring it to stage and perform as well as they did. 10 out of 10, never a skip. Simon.
I just while you were talking about, I just went back to our Led Zeppelin 2, just to see what I'd given What Is a Modern Never Be on the original album. Gave it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Slightly, yeah. Wham's only gave it an 8, dummy. Yeah, cover myself there, fortunately. If anybody's going to go back and mark it, yes, we're all in trouble. Yeah, I mean, this is very much that kind of 2 guitars jam at the beginning, doesn't it? The kind of, just kind of getting into it with cymbals and kind of, very, very much a kind of live beginning to something, isn't it? That kind of it goes on for about a minute before they actually start the song. And as you said, Brad, I wrote down quite trippy, sort of psychedelic. Absolutely got that. Yeah.
Mm.
And I too couldn't really hear any Jimmy Page on this at all. I start to get worried that am I missing it? Have I missed it? Oh dear. So anyway, I like the guitars with the electric piano as well. That's really good. Really, putting those things together and bringing those Black Crowes, what they bring as a band, really good. And I would say that it's a much more modern drum beat, isn't it? It's not. It has that real 90s drum beat to it that you can pinpoint rather than the Led Zeppelin stuff, which doesn't have that. There's a really interesting contrast in that, and lovely slide solos, electric piano solo, and with the slide joining in the second bit, and you've got second guitar soloing in the background. There's lots of solos and kind of, as you say, contributing to that kind of psychedelic feel to it. So fantastically well arranged and great singing as well. It's and a big ending. Who doesn't love a big ending? So 10 out of 10 for me. Never a skip. I think it's again, it fits in, doesn't it, with what's going on, and it kind of fits in with that kind of what is and what should never be, kind of stretching out a bit and having the contrasting parts, and this having a similar sort of vibe to it. So I can see why they put it in here, and I think it fits really well. Yeah, so 10 out of 10 for me. Never a skip. Andrew.
Yeah, you're right, Brad. It's off the Pubic Hair album that came out in '94, America, which we haven't ranked on the channel. So we've locked that in. But America is a great album. Came out in '94, '95. So it's about 4 or 5 years old when they record this with at the Page gig. Mr. Wikipedia defines the song or describes the song, Simon, as country soul. And whatever that means. But I always loved Brad, and you and I are great Mark Ford fans, and Mark Ford's contribution to the original track is just, his guitar is just wow, mind blowing. And then I remember being a little bit sort of, oh, what are they going to do with this? But being again pleasantly surprised back in the day listening to it, and I'm going to repeat a couple of things that you guys have said. It fits in. It's a hand in the glove. It's got that feel. It's the band doing what they want. Again, I have to back you up. I can't hear Page at all. On this, he's probably backstage. Was he smoking still back then? Probably having a cigarette.
Yeah, he was. But the footage I saw of him that I used to have on DVD, he's actually on stage while they're playing this. But he's not. I mean, because it was a full wide shot of the band, it didn't look like he was playing much at all. But yeah, I don't know 100%.
Tambo.
Yeah. And and as Brad said, it's one of the great songs on their album, on the Black Crowes album. And I'm glad that they dug this track out, because I have to agree with you, Brad. It's just an incredible song, and it fits in well. I too have given this a 10 out of 10, and I urge you to go and check if you're not familiar with the Black Crowes. A lot of people know their first 2 albums, but go and check out the one. It's the one with the girl with the bikini pants on the cover.
Yes.
Interesting, isn't it? I would never have said the word country in relation to this version of this song. I don't know what It's like
I've-
an harmonica.
A little bit more soul than country, but yeah, it's
psychedelic soul. I'd have gone if you wanted to. Yeah, I wouldn't have put country in it particularly.
When I listen to that song, I just hear a mixture of the Stones and Faces and soul music. That's what I'm hearing. You know, it's got a feel to it.
Which is completely what their influences are, isn't it?
Yeah,
the Faces of the Stones and soul music. It's perfect.
It fits perfectly next to a Zeppelin song, is what I'm saying too. There's something about it. It's got that sonic psychedelia thing going on. Okay, guys, we get to a couple of jammy sort of songs, and Mellow Down Easy. It's very much a jammy song. I mean, Chris Robinson, he's a blues singer as well. You know, he's got that blues about him. He delivers it like a bluesman. There's a lot of raw energy to his vocal. Some great harp playing on this. Again, I think he shines as a harp player.
Yeah.
You know, guitar-wise, Page's bluesy licks, and you know, he's blending really well with that dual guitar thing from the Black Crowes. You know, there's a rich, what do you call it, backbone of guitars on this as well. Again, the bass playing locks in, you know, very tightly with Steve Gorman's drumming. He's got a real thunderous energy the way he plays on this one. There's still that swinging groove though, and a lot of bluesy swagger. There's organ flourishes and throughout the song gives a little bit more, you know, extra depth, a bit of classic blues feel to the track as well. I mean, I feel like I should stop ranking the album, but I gave it a 10 out of 10, guys. And never a skip. It's an amazing version of the song. It's a live performance. It's really well captured. Amazing, guys. Simon.
Yeah. Yes, as a little Walter song. It's you know, as you say, kind of getting into slightly more of the sort of blues jam kind of thing. Yeah, it's a bit looser and a bit because you can, you know, on a straightforward blues thing like this. I think everyone gets a go, don't they? You've got the harp playing, you've got the piano, you've got the call and response with the vocals and the slide guitar. Got guitar solos, you know, sharp blues guitar solo, a harp solo, a slide solo, a piano solo, and another slide solo. I mean, sort of, you know, it's a showcase for the band to do what they do and stuff, and it's you know, it's fantastic fun. I gave it a 9 out of 10 and never a skip, but as I say, because it's a bit of a looser jammy, I think to me it's a 9 out of 10, never skip. Andrew.
Yeah, I'm with you there too, Simon. You know, a lot of fun, and we love fun songs. And you know, over the years, we've ranked a few albums, especially some of these live albums, where they do have those jam songs, and it gives the band an opportunity where they can sort of, you know, take a break a little bit. You know, go and fill up the cup and put a bit of scotch in the cup or something, Simon. You know, when someone else is doing something, but it also gives that collective feel because everybody gets a chance at contributing something to a song. I have to point out a couple of things. I think Steve obviously is doing his drumming on this. You know, it's undeniably his drumming, and also the harp playing is just incredible. I wish I could play the harp like that. And I too have given this a 9 out of 10. Never a skip, Brad.
Yeah. Well, next strike is also another jammy sort of song. And it's a BB King song. Woke up this morning, my baby, she was gone. And I always loved the BB King version of this as well. But Chris Robinson, his vocals are very, you know, very bluesy. I love his delivery of this one. Very authentically Chris Robinson. Guitar-wise, Jimmy Page's lead guitar work. You know, he's a bluesman. He's got a lot of emotive playing on there. Audley Freed, his solos are wonderful as well. And great solos all around. The bands are jamming. They're having fun. Bass playing, you know, Sven's bass playing on this is, you know, steady, fairly understated, but he's holding the groove very, very well. And Gorman's drumming is laid back. It's got that shuffle feel, but he's driving the track. Again, I gave this one a 10 out of 10, guys, and never a skip. Simon.
Yeah, it's BB King song. It's, as you said, I like the way that it has one rhythm in the verse, and then it goes to sort of straighter rhythm in the chorus as well. That's really cool. Really like that. I think that's a. I think again, you've got that kind of where Page does the solos. I'm pretty sure it's Page. Great piano in the background as well, kind of giving it that sort of a Chicago blues vibe with the boogie woogie piano. And again, the guitar solos are great, and I think it's it's a great version of the song. I'll give it a 9 out of 10 and never a skip. It's as I say, a bit more of the jammy things, but so they get into a bit more of the fun of it. Was it Chris? I want to say you like that blues stuff, do you? Blues,
Yeah.
mentioned one of these songs. Yeah. So 9 out of 10 for me, Andrew.
Yeah, again, Simon, I have to agree with you. The boogie woogie piano, that's really cool. And, that's a big part of the Black Crow sound, Brad, isn't it? The organ, the keyboards, right from the word go. It's a big part of who the band is and their identity. And, what's the saying, Simon? They're letting their hair down, having a bit of fun on this.
Yeah.
And you got to remember that BB King in 2000, he just came out with that Riding with the King around about the same time. So BB King was a little bit of the flavor of the month, maybe, for some of these guys. Certainly, if you're going to be doing any blues covers or blues numbers, it's got to be one of the Kings, doesn't it? And it's going to be a sure bet, especially for a lot of those American guys, because they hold them in high regards, they revere them, reverence, and all that kind of stuff. It's a little bit like how we're revering this album. Well done. Again, that jam thing. It's not a bad thing, Brad. It's not a bad thing, but I've given it again a 9 out of 10. Bit of fun.
Yeah. I probably should have given him a 9 as well, but I just had to keep it consistent because hey, why not? Why not? The next song is one of my all-time favorite songs of Led Zeppelin, so it's hard to not give this a great score as well. But I'm going to keep this as short as I can because I can elaborate for hours on this version of this song. This is my favorite song from the disc so far, or the performance so far. And it's always been, like I said, a Led Zeppelin favorite of mine. It's great to hear it covered with all the guitar layers on it, which is something that in Zeppelin versions, it's pretty much Page trying to cover his multi-layering guitars on this song, because there's a fair few guitar tracks, overdubs on this song. It's a beautiful, reflective song, as we know, and Chris Robinson delivers it very heartfelt, and he's catching the essence of Robert Plant's vocal delivery on this. His phrasing and tone, he's bringing a bit of new life to it as well, but he's trying to give Robert Plant a nod here. I think he's done a wonderful job on it. Guitar-wise, I mean, like I said, I could talk for hours about this. Page's intricate sort of guitar parts are all covered here. The cleaner parts shine. The rhythm guitars adding lush harmonies everywhere. There's, it's great to hear all the parts of the song that are important played together. That's great to hear. Audley Freed's playing all the wah parts throughout the song. The solos are deeply emotional and expressive. Obviously, Page, he really does deliver goosebumps every time he plays this song. And hearing Chris Robinson really just keeping the rhythm guitar part there the whole time. The outro part of this song, you can hear them all playing the lead lines together. It's a perfect example, this song, of the three guitarists playing wonderfully well and not stepping on anyone else's toes. That's it. You know how hard it is to play three guitar players on stage. It's very difficult. because everyone wants to shine, everyone wants to do their thing, and at some point it can get a little bit too much. Where the three of them, they had their parts structured so well. I think they couldn't have played this song any better. The bass line here, it's obviously just reinforcing the song. It's got the depth to it. It plays a lot of that lead line with Jimmy Page through the intro and all that, which is what Jonesy used to do. So he's keeping it fairly traditional to the song. Same as the drumming on this. I think he's really just supporting the song, the dynamics, the lifts and everything, with a little bit of his own feel to it. But again, staying fairly, faithful to the original version on Physical Graffiti. There's some wonderful key parts on there, keyboards, and adds a fair bit of weight and emotional weight to the song as well. Guys, this is a wonderful version of the song. I'm so glad they captured this live performance of this. It gives me goosebumps every single time I listen to it this week. For that reason, give it 100 out of 10 and never a skip. Simon.
Now, just while you were talking, just having a quick look. Apparently, Jimmy Page recorded around 14 guitar tracks for some of this, and live, when they used to do it live, something they played. John Paul Jones had like a triple-necked instrument, 6-string, 12-string, and a mandolin and bass pedals, all at the same time. But Page said about playing it with the Black Crowes, we did 10 Years Gone, and all of a sudden heard all the guitar parts that I never heard apart from the record. We could never do all those guitar parts with just one guitar in Led Zeppelin. It was fantastic. So clearly, completely picking up on what you said, to be able to reproduce all those, or a lot of those guitar parts, and it clearly makes this a fantastic version of it, and and where a band this big really comes into its own, where you've got all those different, and as you said, towards the end where you've got the solo guitars and under the vocals and things, that clearly all those parts, really fitted in and give it an added dimension to it live. And as you said, I mean, it's a fantastic version of the song, and Robertson holds his own fantastically with the vocals and and all the parts in it as well, and the drums and the bass. It's a fantastic version of it, and yes, if you haven't heard it, go and check it out, because of all those, the way that Page puts all the different parts together, all the sections together, it's a creatively brilliant. I think that's what he does. That's what he's at his absolute best, doing those things, and they do it absolute justice, and it's 10 out of 10 for me and never a skip. Andrew.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk anything about the song because you guys have said it all. Other than it's an incredible version, and back up the Rock Professor with that quote. I read that too recently, and one of the great things about one of the greatest musicians in the world, Brad, is that if he can be surprised and blown away by a cover version of a song that he did with his original band, and we can hear that clearly that is true. It's not an opinion. It's a fact, that these guitars are providing the song, with that texture that's so important. Simon and Brad, that you said that the original members in Led Zeppelin tried their darndest with the technology they had to provide it. And for a long time, Brad, we were happy to have the album because the album was the go-to with that song. But now we've got another version of this great song. I've given this song a Brad score. What a way to end, the side that we're ranking. I have to agree with you. It's phenomenal.
Well, there we go, gentlemen. There we go.
Part one.
Part one, probably a 3-part series. So I'm super glad that you guys enjoyed this as much as I did, and thank you for indulging me to do this one.
Yeah.
That's
So
been
no
great.
conclusions.
Yeah.
No conclusions, folks, because we're still ranking it. so
Yep.
other than go and check it out if you have not already. If you're watching us during the week on replay, we urge you to go and check it out. We'll include some links. Brad and I will definitely be back next Sunday. We're going to keep things a little bit light. We're going to talk a little bit about the gear that these guys may or may not have used on this album. We'll try and get some information there for you. We'll be hanging out for a little while the Rock Professor is doing what the Rock Professor does after a hard night.
Yeah, of head banging.
Yeah. He's been on the medicine again.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brad, for picking this. I know that we're not doing any conclusions, bro, but you know, I must say, you know, I like it when we're topical, and you know, it's good to see that this collection is getting attention, getting some good reviews, and you know, who knows what this package might lead up to in the summer in the States, Simon.
Oh, indeed. Well, you know, you never know, do you?
Hopefully Jimmy gets up and does a couple of numbers with the Black Crows.
That'd be good. Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah. Good to see Jimmy playing again, for sure.
You want to do a shout out, Rock Professor?
Yes, I'll do. Yes, to Ellen and Ryan Hall as well. Ryan, thanks for dropping by. And,
hey, Ryan.
Helene O'Hara, great to see you as ever. Helene doing doing the scores as well. That's fantastic. Tony Bowen as well. Morning, Tony. Hope you're good. Thanks for dropping by. And, yes, and Guitar Talk Universe, Quentin. How you doing? Dropping in.
Quentin James.
Stirring it up. I'll scroll back. Ellen, so me, Tony, Arvin, of course, as well. Thanks, Arvin. Dropping by. Gret as well. Gret Zeppelin. Wayno as well. Thanks for dropping by, Wayno. From sunny Boston. Gret, Arvin, Elaine. John ZD as well. Thanks for dropping in, John. Good to see you. Hope you're well. And Nelson Rodriguez at the top of the heap. Thanks everyone for dropping by. And already we've got 21 thumbs ups, which is very nice. So thank you very much for the 21 thumbs up. And yes, and I'll see you in 2 weeks when they finish inserting the bolts into my neck, and
yes,
I can returning as the Frankenstein's monster for part 2 in 2 weeks.
Good luck, Simon. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Yep, crossing everything. For Wednesday.
Yeah. Well done. Well done.
Lovely. Thanks everyone for your support. It's really nice. Fantastic. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Take it away, boss.